Break up before traveling abroad. Or long distance relationship.
I don't have that kind of experience. I'm single to stupor. But I mean, it depends on. I think it depends on maybe how long you guys have been together and what kind of future you see for the relationship. So if you feel like, oh, that's the one, that's the person you want to settle with, so definitely ride it out through the scholarship period. But if you were in a situationship or you were just playing around or joking, I mean, end it and let the person be fine and go for the scholarship. So it depends really.
Me, I'm married, so I don't know. So maybe I'll just, you go along with the relationship. If I know it's going to have a good end result. So, but if you know you want to end the relationship, you can end it. But remember, you're coming back to meet that person when you come back.
If you're coming back.
That's it.
Long distance relationship, as long as it is worth it.
Well, I've not exactly dated before. So, but I think that if the person you are dating has prospects, if the relationship is well defined, if you are sure that the future that you guys have together is something compelling, I don't see scholarship being like the big hurdle between the two of you, like big enough or strong enough to be splitting you guys. So maybe long distance relationship will work in the short term. Eventually, when you are done, either you bring her along or bring him along. Whatever works for you guys, just do it.
I've announced already, and I'm still here in Nigeria, so announce before traveling.
Get there before you announce. It really portrays more importance and more visibility for you.
I've announced to some people, then for some, when I get there, I would announce it.
Okay, my friends know about this already, but my social media, it's only my LinkedIn that's aware. On Facebook, Instagram, no other person knows about it.
So I think a little bit of both, but primarily the personal application we research is very, very important. But to a very large extent, it's nice to have support from fellow aspirants or people who have already gotten this scholarship before.
Okay, to me, I will rather apply alone so that I'll gather my thoughts. So when I'm almost through, I tend to seek ideas from others and we write together and we submit.
For me, it's a blend of both. I would start applying myself. Afterwards, I can reach out to other people.
Well, 70% personal effort with 30% contribution from others.
Okay, that's dicey, but I would say fully funded scholarship to return.
Why?
Oh, okay. Why? Because it's fully funded, and I know even after I return, the scholarship, the degree I have would be able to propel me to get further opportunities abroad. So, yeah.
Fully funded because I will not have to stress about getting my tuition, my stipend, my daily expenses. So everything will be covered. So I'll rather come back, and after how many years I'll go back. So that's double opportunity.
Tuition free to stay back, please.
If I have tuition free in the US or in Canada, definitely I'm going for it. But if it's somewhere like an unpopular country, I might prefer a fully funded opportunity to that.
For scholarship applicants, I would say the UK, but if we expand scholarships to include fully funded offers from universities, then I would say the US.
I'll go with the UK and Canada.
Yeah, I'll go with the UK and Canada too.
Well, I think if I look at it in terms of how much they pay for stipend, the possibility of staying back, and probably the ease of getting job afterwards, maybe the US might be like my most preferred destination.
Okay, so for that, I think it would depend on the scholarship you're applying for. So there are some scholarships from personal experience. I believe that scholarships like MasterCard and maybe Erasmus, they prioritize academic excellence. All scholarships prioritize academic excellence, but I feel like those particular scholarships prioritize a lot more than some others. And while at the same time, there are some scholarships that look more at it from a holistic perspective that focus on your work experience, leadership experience, and extracurricular activities. So I believe that it depends on the scholarship, but you need to have a bit of everything to be a good candidate for scholarships.
Yeah, I'll go with the experience, because most times you need the experience so that it will augment the academic experience you have. You'll be able to tell that, okay, you're in this field already, and you'll be able to tell your stories more. But if you base it on just academic, then you won't have working experience to show for it. So most applications ask you for 2 years minimum work experience, so you need to have the two, and it has to go together.
I'll go for both, and I'm saying so because sometimes you might not really have the academic experience, the qualification, and so, but your work experience will be able to balance up what you lack in terms of academics. So both.
Okay, so for me, I also think it's both. So depending on what scholarship you're applying for and what country probably you are looking at, it might depend what will probably rank higher. So if you are looking for an MBA, for instance, an MBA scholarship, work experience probably take precedence over maybe academic excellence. If you're looking at scholarship like maybe Erasmus or maybe MasterCard or some other scholarships, maybe having like that critical high CGPA, for instance, probably will give you leverage. But holistically, I think that it depends on what scholarship you're applying for and what they prioritize as being important. If you're looking at NST, for instance, definitely academic excellence comes first. Or maybe if you're looking at MBA programs, maybe work experience take precedence over academic excellence.
Okay, so from personal experience, yes, I do carry my friends and family along during the application process. Might not be everybody I know, but my inner circle and my close friends and family will definitely know that I'm applying for this, and they support in whatever way they can.
Okay, to me, my friends who I know are really, really innovative, that it can be my backbone when I need their assistance, because I won't want to tell my family so that I won't give them high hopes and they all start trailing the application with me and I end up not getting it. So I'll end up telling my friends who can back me up and be able to help me emotionally when I'm getting it or when I'm not getting it.
I'll tell friends and family. Friends for the support, then family, because honestly speaking, this journey, you need prayer at some point too. Yeah, so a blend of both.
I would rather tell my friends that I've won those scholarships or at least have experiences of winning similar scholarships than maybe family members.
Okay, so once again, from personal experience, I applied for multiple. I think that gives you a better shot at winning at least one, and you might just get lucky and win a couple. So applying to just one and being persistent at one, eventually you might get that one, but what if that one is not for you? What if you don't end up getting it? So applying to multiple ones gives you there's a higher chance for you to actually clinch one and get what you really deserve and need.
So to me, I think I'll apply for more, because you don't have to put your head in one basket. So if that particular one you're pursuing does not give you the offer, you will have others to look up to and not feel emotional trauma at the end of the day. So just spread your tentacles to other places.
Apply to multiple. If one doesn't click, definitely another is going to click.
So I think if you have a very high CGPA, maybe a perfect CGPA, and you have a fantastic work experience and research publications, maybe pursuing a particular scholarship might work out for you because you are like the kind of ideal candidate for that kind of scholarship. But if you probably have like a minimal CGPA like mine, maybe spreading your net wide and casting your net into the ocean might be like the best strategy for you.
Okay, I feel like I can submit the application at any time, depending on how prepared I am. For the scholarships I've applied to so far, I always start early enough, so I get my applications done before the deadline. But if it comes down to it, I think there's been like one or two that I had to submit very late towards the deadline. So I can do any of them, but I would prefer to submit early enough, way before the deadline.
To me, I will submit early enough because most times this system can really malfunction. That is when maybe towards the closing of the application, everything just starts acting up and you're not able to submit, or your application just go down. So I would advise we submit early so that you can, relieve yourself of the tension and just move ahead and wait for the outcome of the application.
Personally, I submitted on the last day, but do not try it at home. So, yeah, I feel like it depends on how prepared you are. It's better to submit when you have more than enough time to go through your essays and be done with the application.
Well, I think there is no incentive for submitting early, and there are probably quite a number of things at stake if you are probably trying to submit on the deadline. So I normally target the average, something not too that is not too close to the deadline and not too leaning towards the beginning of the application. Something in the middle.
Next question. Service.
Corporate. Corporate, definitely corporate.
The two, if you want to tell, it depends on the story you are going to go and tell at the interview. So if you want to tell from an entrepreneurial space, you need to represent that. And if you want to go as a medical doctor or somebody in the social space or any other spaces, you need to dress the part so that when they see you, they will be able to, even from your look, they'll be able to know the story you're about to tell.
Corporate.
Corporate.
So yeah, I think your story has more weight. So you winning the scholarship is about how well you can tell your story. So it's nice to be able to infuse some statistics into your story here and there, but it's still about your story. So I think your story carries more weight than statistics.
I'll go with stories so that you can put empathy into what you're telling them.
More of stories with a little bit of statistics.
Well, so to be clear, story is not just saying I suffered, I did this and said that. It's more like telling your story with facts, blending different things together to make people better understand what it is that you're trying to say, coming out being, people empathizing with you and realizing stuff. So I think it's telling my story with facts.
When you say average, it's highly unlikely for a high-ranked school to not have relevant course modules. But I would just answer your question. I would go for average school relevant course modules, because ultimately the course modules matter to you. Need to ensure that the school you are going for has course modules that are aligned with what you want to do. So because when you get into the industry, it's the course modules, not the ranking of the school, that would help you to function in the industry, that will even land you the job. So if you can show that you have experience in these areas or you have taken courses in these areas, it shouldn't really matter much what your school is ranked as.
Again, I'll go with the average rank school because just as he has said, what really matters is the modules and what you are going to learn from the lecturers and everything, the experience you're going to gain, so that it will be useful for you when you get out there.
Average ranked with relevant course module.
I don't know.
Okay, so it depends on what stage in life you are. So if you are a fresh graduate, of course, it's very likely that your academic references would be more important and will carry more weight than professional references. So I used both because I already have a bit of experience, so I was able to get a strong academic reference as well as a strong professional reference. So it really does depend on what stage you are in life, and so I think they are both equally important. Just depends on what stage you are in life.
Me, I would say the professional reference, because there are type of organization you work for or you want to use them as your referee that speaks volume for you in your application. When you're working with and you have to mention maybe a White House, Obama Foundation, stuff like that, it carries more weight than you just mentioning a school maybe like Laspotec or any other low ranking school. It gives you more credibility when they look at the letterhead of the company that is sending it. So I'll say professional reference.
I'll say it depends on what you need at that point in time. Some are always very specific, academic reference or professional. So whichever one that's what you go for.
So I think if you're applying to some schools in the Middle East, like all the Saudi Arabian schools, they specifically tell you they want academic referees. But I think if you have the option, or if your school is giving you the flexibility of choosing between academic referee and professional referee, I think that you should go for someone that would write highly compelling things about you, someone who can vouch for the integrity of a character, and not just say that maybe the last encounter I had with this person was 2 years ago or 5 years ago. Someone you are in constant relationship with and that can write really compelling things about you. So if an academic referee could do that for you, go for it. And if a professional referee is going to give all of those details about you, I think you should go for it.
This is the final question.
Yeah, I think I'll go with necessary skills. I know I have a first class, but while not having a first class, I still need to have a very high grade or high CGPA at the end of the day, because I do agree with you that there are a lot of people that graduate with first class that can't really defend the first class or do not have the skills to support that grade. So yes, I would go with having the requisite skills to support whatever grade you did come out with eventually.
I would say, what's the use of first class when you can't defend it? So you rather you get the skills that you can use to augment your lower credit or your pass than having a first class that you can't even defend or can't get you anywhere. So I would advise you go for the skills, maybe professional, maybe skill or entrepreneurial wise, and you go for it.
I would say necessary skills, because with your necessary skills and a lower grade, you can always apply for professional courses to like augment your certificate.
Okay, so I would say skills, and the reason for saying that is because the climate is changing, right? So the world is tilting more towards what can you do as against what did you graduate with. Although I must recognize that first class is the door opener, or eventually what keeps you in the door are the skills that you have that can get stuff done. So if you have like a test skill, maybe you're a software or engineer, or you are a graphic designer, you are anybody that can get any gig from anywhere in the world, I think your skills probably speak more volume about you than probably your first class that probably did not say as much about you as your demonstrated skills, that this is what I have, this is what I can create, this is the product that I can bet on my skills. So I would say skills as against first class.
Okay, so I don't think it matters much, but I mean it might help, because even while you're applying to some schools abroad, some specifically ask you to attach the ranking of your school. Like they will ask you, open this particular ranking website and let us see where your school is. So some actually care about it, but ultimately I do not think it matters a lot, because you can study at the most remote school in one of the most remote countries in the world, and as long as you can prove that you have the credentials and you have substance, that would still be a door opener for you into a lot of opportunities all over the world. So it doesn't matter that much, but it might help.
It does not matter, because most times when you school at low grade schools or your school ranking is just 5% or so, it speaks more volume, because there's credibility in that school than somebody that produced like 5,000 graduates every year, but there's nothing to show for it. But the ones that have the low ranking, they have high standard students that they are producing every year, because they can concentrate on the few number of people they have in their school.
I would say it doesn't matter as long as you have the skills and credibility to like show for it.
Well, I would say it matters, and because this is a world where brand now speak more volumes than any other thing. So a big school, a renowned school like Harvard, Cambridge, Stanford, MIT, probably speaks more volume than probably most of our schools here in Nigeria, really. But except you're an outlier in probably a school that is not so popular, where you have an unusual skill, unusual demonstrated intelligence, or you have a very unusually high CGPA, or very crazy social impact work that could probably differentiate you from every other person. Except you have all of that, I really think going to a good school gives you leverage for opportunities, leverage in front of employers, leverage for even joining people that are doing stuff in the world. So I think it's give you that leverage, and it's probably put you at a better pedestal than a school that is not ranking very high.
At this point in time, I think so. Yes, I would consider PhD. I don't know where I would be at the end of the master's program, but right now, yes, I would consider a PhD at the end of my master's.
No, I will have to make more impact first before I consider going for anything called education again.
I don't know yet because I heard PhD is around 4 years. So I'm not sure if I have that strength right now, but never say never.
Well, I'm sure, but the clarity I have now is I want to do my MBA after my MSc. It's because I want to work in a corporate environment. I want to build stuffs. So PhD might not be like the best route for me, but eventually if my thinking and my reasoning changes, maybe I might go for it. But for now,